undisputed, no mistakes are playing big. In the end, you'll all marvel like it's...
Welcome back to the Mike and Ike Show. I'm Mike. I'm not exactly sure where Ike is at the moment, but who cares? I have a very special announcement. The Mike and Ike Show is gaining producer Woody Cincy. Woody will continue to work on his video podcast, but will no longer be doing those Cover 2 podcasts, and will instead be joining us on the Mike and Ike Show most weeks as a producer. Woody was present and was going to join us, but he got called out for some commissioner duty, so we're going to continue without him. Lately, the Commissioner Jim has been harping on the entire staff, and probably some of you guys listening, about recruiting, so I've devised a plan to bring up that recruitment process and make it a little easier. What is that plan, you ask? Well, we're just going to keep pushing people, and they're bound to join and be amazing owners in the XCFL. Watch this.
Hello?
I have just one question for you. Are you ready?
Am I ready for what? Who is this?
Are you ready for this weekend when the XCFL Season 2 kicks off between Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos and the Panthers? Right now, you can join the XCFL League for only $10.99.
I'm sorry, no, there's not any chance in hell we are going to have Madden in this house again. Thank you, but no. Have a good day. Hello?
And goodbye to anyone standing in the XCFL's way of becoming the best CFM league on Madden 17. XCFL has been steadily growing the past 10 months and has become one of the most premier leagues on Madden. Join now and have that $10.99 fee waived. That's right, join now for free.
Sir, you just called me, and as I mentioned before, we are not joining a Madden league, so please stop calling my house. Thank you, and goodbye. Hello?
Hi, can I speak to the commish?
Who?
Commish. Is the commish there?
Who is the commish?
That question would be answered if you join the XCFL League.
Listen!
Commissioner Jim is our founder and leader and has made the XCFL one of the most premier...
Hey, sir, would you please quit calling my house? Holy cow. Hello? Can you stop screaming and playing that music? Not interested. Stop calling my f***ing house. Hello?
I'm watching you.
Excuse me?
That's exactly what Commissioner Jim says when you're all twitching your games on Madden 17 against all the teammates in the XCFL League.
For the love that is all stop calling my house before I get your number. I'll track you down and tear you to absolute pieces. Do you understand me? I know who you are, you crazy motherfucker. Stop calling my house. No Madden, no stupid XCFL league is happening. Stop calling now. I swear, if this is that Madden again.
Okay. Good morning. Hi. I'm just calling to ask if you're a supporter of the American Cancer Society.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I apologize. I've been getting crazy calls all morning. I apologize. And yes, I definitely am.
Fantastic. Are you a supporter of early screening?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Because you can support the American Cancer Society by doing one thing.
Joining the XCFL Madden League, where all players wear pink during the month of October during your
You?
game.
Are you kidding me right now? I can't even handle this. I cannot handle this.
Commissioner Jim.
I can't believe you're still calling me. I'm about ready to lose my
All right, I'm back. What are you doing?
Well, I'm just trying to recruit some people, and that was an interesting experience. I think you'll like what you hear.
I hope so.
But we're going to transition just a little bit, especially now that you're back, and we're going to take a quick look at the league so far. We're almost done with preseason week 2. Ike should be joining us here shortly to kind of discuss a little bit of who to look out for, who's going to be good, who might suck season 1. So we'll just try to figure that out. Ike, you back yet?
Yeah, hey guys. Man, producer Cincy was telling me you were doing some weird methods for recruiting people, so I don't know what's up with that. But let's go ahead and talk about the preseason here. we've got 4 teams that are 0-2. We got Jaguars, Colts, Dolphins, Chiefs. Producer Sensi, who do you think is going to really struggle, and who's just having a tough time in the preseason?
Well, so far, I think definitely the Jags, and I think you with the Chiefs. I think you guys are going to be fine. I think Sean's going to struggle with the Colts just because that defense. He's going to have to build that team up like he did in the past. So definitely think that'll be interesting to watch. And the Dolphins. He seems like he's a pretty good gamer, so I think he'll be pretty safe in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't think any of those 4 teams are going to be awful. I mean, I could see the Colts, like you said, struggling a little bit offensively. That he's got to get moving the ball. He's only scored 13 points through 2 games. Only scored 3 points in this past game. So he's got to get the ball moving. He's allowed 83 points in 2 games. So that's a lot. He's got to get that figured out and get that kind of wrapped up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I think that is probably the highest by far. Well, I guess the Jets allowed 80 points. The Raiders have allowed 70, so it's up there. But that's still pretty high difference between points for and points against. I agree with you guys' assessment. Hopefully, I can get the Chiefs turned around. That's the plan. So we'll see if that happens or not. But it's definitely been rush sledding for the preseason. What about these teams that are undefeated so far? We've got the Ravens, the Bucks, the Bills, the Rams, the Vikings. Are these guys for real, Cincy, or are these guys just pretend, want to be winners?
Well, I got smacked by the Ravens, so I definitely would say the knockout is definitely for real. Andrew, I've played millions of times, and I definitely think he's every single year Super Bowl contender. I just wait till he makes it. Nick just literally won the tournament, so I definitely think he's going to be good with the Vikings. Air V, I don't think he's ever not made the playoffs. And then obviously the Rams won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, all 4, I think every single one of those teams is a legitimate threat to win the Super Bowl this year.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you just look at the point spreads there, Ravens scored 63 points and only allowed 15. My Bills scored 75 points in 2 games and only allowed 24. The rest of them are a little bit closer. But the point spreads, just the amount of points being scored in those teams is, you got to score to win. So that's kind of how those top teams are pulling it out.
All right, let's transition to some stats with some players. I'll let you guys get to that as I'm briefly going through here. We're going to take a look at some of these players, and are these guys just preseason winners, or some of these guys maybe show up as being successful in the actual season. So let's look at just some general information, maybe passing, rushing, and receiving leaders, and some defensive leaders. Let's take a look at the receiving here first, and I'm going to take a look here at the yards. So receiving yards, the highest we have right now, keep in mind who's playing, but we have Darius Hayward-Bay, and we have Brashard Perriman. The dude does not go away. Andre Johnson. Those are your top 3. I mean, is that how it's going to be, or are these guys just preseason heroes? What do you think there, Mike?
Darius Hayward-Bay, he'll definitely go away for sure. I mean, Steelers, I've tried personally trading for Sammy Coates. He's not getting rid of Sammy Coates, so he's got Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Sammy Coates, and Marcus Wheaton all above Hayward-Bay. So I don't look for Hayward-Bay to be anywhere near the top. I mean, he's got 224 now, and I think he'll be lucky to have 224 all of the regular season. Perryman, I think there's always a possibility he can be up there. He's fast, he's tall. I think he'll be up there. I don't know if he'll be quite top 2, top 3, but he'll be up there. And then Boone with Andre Johnson. Boone always seems to bring out the best in the worst players. Andre Johnson's obviously not the worst player. He's just a little older and a little slower, so I think he'll be up there as well. But one of my biggest surprises is if you look at the Chiefs, 0-2 team, hasn't really scored that much, and they got 2 guys, Albert Wilson and Tyreek Hill, both in the top 10. So that's a little different. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, we at the Chiefs, we can get the yards, we just can't score the touchdowns. What about rushing? Here, this one's for you, producer Woody Sensi. If you go to the rushing yards, you got Shane Vereen up there. He's probably not going to have that many yards. But take a look at the rushing leaders compared to their average per carry. Some of these guys, these guys have seen the ball 30 times, and they're getting 7.8, 7.4, 7.9, 7.3, 7.6 yards per carry. I mean, do people just suck at defending the run, or what's going on, Woody?
I think definitely in this game, the learning the zone gaps and understanding like the A gap, B gap, C gap, and understanding on offense, being able to read your gap, and then on defense, making sure that you go through the right hole, because a lot of people just push the buttons as fast as they can. They don't think about where they're responsible for, and they kind of run past it. And I think this Madden really embraces that idea that if you go past it, you're going to straight miss your block, and you're going to go let them get a big gain. But I can definitely vouch for Terrence West is a beast. He ran all over me. Chris Thompson, though, Jack wasn't there for, so that's kind of a surprise, because I wouldn't expect the Redskins without Jack to be good. But I definitely know Dan the Man is a great runner this game with the Seahawks. Even though they have a crappy offensive line, he runs all over me every time we play offline. So I definitely think that his team's going to be real with this Seahawks.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Christine
man.
Michael, he's no chump anyway. Christine Michael's he's a sneaky good running back in my opinion.
That made me so mad with Dan the Man, which does have an excellent team, have excellent depth. Shut down his starting running back, pulls in the backups, and runs for like 160 yards. I was so mad after that game. Let's go ahead and switch to defense. We were looking at some of these stats, may not be perfect, but we can kind of see the interception leaders. We've got not a ton of interceptions so far, but it's only 2 games. A lot of guys with 1. We got about 3 guys with 2. Mike Adams and Kendall James kind of leading there with 2. We've got maybe just a few forced fumbles. What has you guys' experience been with the turnovers? What does your team make turnovers, or are you successful at doing it?
I don't think I've had 1 interception this year in the preseason so far. I definitely think they're high with the tip ball. I definitely think there's always opportunities. My guys just seem to tip them back and forth to each other like they're playing volleyball, and then it drops on the ground. But I definitely think that interceptions are gonna happen. I just don't know if they're gonna happen with me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the complete opposite. Through 2 games, my team has 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 8 interceptions. So I got 3 guys with 2 interceptions, and then 2 guys with 1 interception apiece. So interceptions are coming pretty often for my team. They seem to catch everything that comes their way, and I really hope this keeps up throughout the regular season. My guys that are intercepting it, they're starters. They're going to be on the field, so it's not like they're the scrubs that are in late in the game. They're my starting safeties and my starting cornerbacks, my nickel cornerback. They're all getting interceptions. So the forced fumble, I believe, was I think it was Vic Beasley that forced it. So I think it's definitely a high possibility my team stays with the turnovers and stays with those defensive stats and has a pretty strong defensive year.
All right, last one, guys. Let's have a conversation about the kicking game, because I'm not an expert kicker. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I will find these stats incredibly fun to look at, even though I'm not very good at it at the end of the first season. So go ahead and go to the kicking. We have a few kickers here. If you go to the field goal percentage, that are under 100%. So we've got about 6 kickers. If you go to the extra point percentage, there is about 11 kickers that have missed at least 1 extra point. We've got 1 blocked kick already, I believe, for the Bucks kicker. What's your experience, Woody Sensi, with the kicking game, and is this going to determine some games?
I think it's going to determine a lot of games. I think we just found something interesting, that if you're not kicking a long distance, if you don't get the kicking power go all the way to the top, you're more accurate. But I've missed countless field goals. I felt good about myself when I made a 30-yard field goal. And I just missed another field goal this game of 45 yards against Boone. So, I think it's going to be expected that you miss field goals this game.
Yeah. Heck, my guy, through 2 games, I'm 4 for 5 kicking. My miss was the game tonight I played. It was a 59-yarder, so I'm not going to kick him in the butt too much on that. He made a 60-yarder earlier in the game, so I made a 60-yarder and only missed a 59-yarder. So and absolutely what John said. If you're not kicking a field goal past 40 yards, you don't need to go full power, and the less power you have, the more forgiving the accuracy area is at the bottom. So those extra points, I tested it out tonight actually. I went about half power, and then I I purposely missed the accuracy thing by a decent little margin, and I still drilled the kick. So don't use full power unless you need it. That's my advice for the kicking game.
Alrighty, guys. We're excited to get this full season started. I know preseason feels a little bit long.
I'm going to have to go real quick. I'll be right back.
Well, Mike, let's take a minute to talk about fantasy. Kind of catch up from last week, talk a little bit about this week. Your team is easy breezy. How did you guys fare last week?
Well, it could have been worse, but it definitely could have been better. Tyrod Taylor did not come through for me, and I lost pretty badly. I think I had the least amount of points for any other team in the league, so pretty bad. How about you? How'd you fare?
Yeah, I just want to mention Tyrod Taylor got 3 points, so that's even worse than not coming through.
3.54.
That's pretty bad. But yeah, not coming through is another way to say it too. My team's UMad Bro, and I won pretty handily, 139 to 108. I had a pretty good game. I had Brown, which was 29 points, which he's going to get his points. And then, I had Spencer Ware, which a lot of people thought, well, he's not going to get any points. And, he made sure touches with West, but he's rocking 30 points. He was the highest point value on my team, and I think one of the highest. He was up there for the week. So I had a pretty solid win. The guy I played against, he had AJ Green and Derek Carr, both of which got 29 points. So, he's still got his points, but throughout the game, I just had a better lineup this week.
Yeah, there really weren't too many surprises. Nothing too crazy this past week. Probably the biggest blowout, I suppose, was I ain't mad at you over the Super Mariotas. That was about almost a 50-point swing, so Super Mariotas got crushed. But what can you expect when you play with Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, that's hard, and Andrew Luck, man, 46 points. I didn't even know until I just looked at that he got 46.50 points. So when you got that on your team, more than likely you're gonna win. Mike, did you see that game? Gosh, it was a close one. It was Benny the Great versus Gang Green. Did you see how close that game was?
0.06. I did. That's just insane.
Yeah.
And you gotta give it to Brandon Cooks. 32.4 points for Benny the Great. Put forth a heck of an effort. Still missed it by 0.06 points. That's rough.
Yeah, and that's what's incredible about Matt. When you look at this, Gang Green, he had consistent points. He never had that big guy, with his QB, and Jeffrey got, around 15 points. A few guys got 12 points. But then you look at Benny the Great, he's got the 19 with Bortles. He's got the 32 with Brandon Cooks. His kicker's got 13, but then everybody else on his team sucked. So, it proves even if you got that one star that you may possibly still lose the game. Let's go to week 2. Let's talk about the matchups in week 2. Who do you play for week 2?
Oh, let's see. Week 2, if I remember right, I play the Super Mariotas, who didn't fare too well week 1, but they do have an early lead on me. Brandon Marshall had a good game the other night, and I got Sammy Watkins on my roster, and he just didn't quite drop a goose egg, but only gave me 2 points, so not a good start to my week. Who do you got?
I ain't mad at you, and I feel like it's a game that I could possibly win, depending if my guys show up again. He's got Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton, which is a pretty good pairing, but still, they got to have a good game, and they're playing Denver. I don't know, playing both of those guys, it's either going to be awesome or it's going to be really bad. So we'll see. I got Spencer Ware, which I hope does well again. I hope he plays. I think Russell Wilson's going to bounce back. I've got a few guys, Seahawks against LA. I would imagine that their defense hopefully gets some points for me. So I'm hoping that I can win that game and get started to a 2-0 start. Let's go through the other games. Air V23 versus the Chalupa Batman. Who do you think's got that game?
Well, looking at projections, the NFL.com gives it to Air V, but just based on my insight, Odell Beckham's on the Air V team, and I hope he just absolutely sucks this week. So Beckham drops a goose egg. Phillip Rivers always chokes. So I kind of see the Chalupa Batman's Jim coming out on top this week. I think he's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope that happens. Chalupa Batman's, he's got Big Ben, and they're going against Cincinnati. That's a big rivalry game. It's going to be an awesome game to watch. He's got Benjamin, which I think will have a pretty good game. He's got Cooper, which against Atlanta's crappy defense, I would imagine have a big game. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Last week, I think Vikings defense really helped him. I don't know if they can stay at that momentum level. So we'll see about that one. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to RV just because I think he's probably most likely going to win. What do you think about this other game, the replacement players versus Benny the Great?
I think the projection's spot on here. I think the replacement players got pretty easy. Better quarterback. Wide receivers, they're not necessarily better, but I think they both have potential to be better this week at least. Tight ends not better. So overall their team doesn't look like this better team. But based on matchups this week, I think they have the better roster, the better chance. So I'm gonna go with the replacement players here.
Yeah, you gotta like the replacement players. You gotta like Johnson on their team. Their team isn't too scary to me. I think both of these teams are going to be good quality teams that you're not worried about, and you're not really fretting playing them, but at the same time, they're going to win. They're going to win games, and they're going to surprise you. So I think this will be a good game. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the replacement players, too. I think either one of these teams could play. I think either one of these teams could catch you off guard if you played them. You don't see something happening, but it's going to happen. I think the projections have them at around 80s, and I could see both of them beating that. What about Game of Thrones versus Gangrene?
Well, instantly I'm going to give it to Gangrene. Game of Thrones have Eli Manning, and he's going to suck this week. That Saints secondary is going to shut him down all game long.
Yeah.
So I project big things from the Saints secondary. So Eli Manning, he's going to throw up maybe one or two, maybe 10 points at most. And plus, if you look over at Gangrene, they already got some points. Eric Decker had a huge game, 126 yards and a touchdown. The defense didn't do too awful much, but
wow, look at that defense. 2 points.
Starting off with almost 26 points though, and 2 players. That's not too shabby, and I think they got a pretty good jump on things. Plus, like I said, Eli Manning, he's gonna suck this week, so that's my go. I would play Drew Brees if I were him over Eli Manning all day long.
Yeah, we have no prejudice here, by the way. We're not Saints fans at all. But yeah, we hope Eli Manning sucks. Hopefully he's sits interceptions. It just happens. I'm gonna go Gangrene too. That Jets defense though, that he may come back to hurt him. I think you're right. 26 points between 2 players. But if you go back, if that Jets defense would have got 10 points, no question he's probably winning. So that may come back to bite him, and he may get a little unhappy with that Jets defense this week. Let's go ahead and jump to Black and Gold versus Jay Candy.
Well, projection-wise, this should be a blowout. Black and Gold should just freaking destroy Candy. But projection's not everything. I do know that. But I got to stick with it here just because matchups. Aaron Rodgers, by far the better quarterback of the two. Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. But based on matchups, Derek Carr is going against the Atlanta Falcons, which I don't even know if they have a secondary. I don't even know if they have cornerbacks. Who knows?
I don't think they're out there.
If they are, they're just, I don't know, they're tweeting or Snapchatting or something out there. So, and John Candy's got Rodgers. He's got Devontae Freeman, who I expect him to do a little bit of nothing this year. I think Tevin Coleman's going to take over his spot for the most part. So, this one here to me is cut and dry, Black and Gold. If he loses, I'd be extremely surprised.
Well, Freeman did suck last week. I don't think Coleman did that much better, but I think that Atlanta line and I think the Atlanta defense is just sucky. I think they're just going to lay an egg. I'm kind of impressed with myself after seeing Black and Gold's players that I beat this guy because he's got Derek Carr, he's got Gordon, who's going to do okay, I think. Not amazing, but do decent. Rashard Matthews, Nelson, AJ Green, Mike Evans is his wide receiver flats. Holy cow, I don't know how I beat this guy. So I think he's going to have a really strong team. I think Jay Candy's got a pretty good team with Rodgers and Hyde, and Moncrief does okay. And, he's got the Chiefs defense, but I'm going to give this one to Black and Gold. I really think that if Jay Candy wins this game, it'd be kind of an upset and more power to him, but I think he's got to struggle here.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's it for our fantasy talk. Oh, we were going to talk about transactions. Do we have any transactions?
Well, let's see. Last I saw, there wasn't anything too absolutely crazy. Trade went down, I believe. Jim, the Batmans, shipped out Derrick Henry for Jordan Matthews of I Ain't Mad at You. And I know there's a few trades pending right now. I'm not 100% sure what they are, but I don't think any of them are ground-breaking trades by any means.
Okay, great. Yeah, we had that Tavon Austin drop, which he's sucking anyway, so that was one of the drops. And we had a DeAndre Washington drop, which isn't too big of a deal either. But other than that, I think that's it for our fantasy chat. Good luck to all the teams, and hopefully you prove us wrong.